we have to be asking, how can we shape a kind of prayer or praying that is adapted to the realities of family life now? Because prayer has to be at the heart of this experience of the domestic church. One of the very practical questions we have to ask is, what might family prayer look like in the rhythms of contemporary life?
Praying practically as a family has really evolved for us over time. So it's always been important for us to have prayer in the house, but we've started small. We'll say in Our Father a Hail Mary and a Glory Be before we go to bed. And then again, when they got older, we introduced the Angelus.
Part of how we've incorporated prayer into our family dynamic is also just talking a lot about Jesus. Just very naturally, you pray for people, family and friends, but also just as you go about the day, is this something that would please Jesus? Would this make him happy? And I guess it's a form of prayer in the sense because he's just a part of our life.
At the end of the day, we sit down together, we light a candle, we try and be still. I try not to scold them while they're not being still. And then we thank God. And I was really touched by how quickly they catch on to it. You've got 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds thanking God for this toy, for that toy, for grandma, for dinner, for Papa who works for my money. These things that they pick up, this idea of gratitude, so that they can come to encounter God as a father who provides for them.
I pray first thing in the morning because it's quiet and there's no distractions. I learned that when I was living with a family, when I was studying, and I thought I got up early, but this guy was already up and finishing his prayers by the time I was, waking up.
I just say to my daughter whenever I leave her, well, I'll be praying hard. I'll be praying. Now and again she says to me, I think your prayers are working.
At the end of each day, you and I say a brief prayer together. So we've got a little prayer. It's the prayer of Tobias and Sarah, their wedding prayer. So it's only a few lines, and Julie and I just say that in bed each night before we go to sleep.
We pray prayers at meals, so every meal during the day, and the girls have just seen that as natural now, so even if we go out to a restaurant or something, they wouldn't think of not praying, like any meal, even at school.
I am in a community where we come together each week and share about what God is doing in our lives. Within these groups, we have people who are single, people who are couples, people who are couples with children, religious, and that's actually also quite a richness as well, because you are able to pray together and support each other in the different states of life.
Just this year we've introduced, we're going to say a decade of the Rosary. That's our small step. We'll say a decade every night. And then on a Saturday, now once a week we say a whole rosary. And that's not to say it always goes perfectly, because sometimes someone's tired and they start kicking up a fuss. Currently our 2.5-year-old likes to run around and entertain everybody while we're in the middle of saying prayers, which isn't going that well. But I think it's more about persevering and just keep working through, because it is important.